So with the information seen in the previous videos with the stretch command, we are going here to check some of the use. So here, for example, we would like to stretch this element or this bar and make actually this bay longer. So it means that we would need to stretch all these elements here and then move that bend. But if we are using actually the stretch command, we've seen that the stretch is nothing other than a move point. So if we go here from the top and make sure to select all the elements in this on this end and go to stretch lasso point and select all the points. Oh, there is no active point. Let's place it on that element. And I'm selecting here all the point that needs to be stretched along the length of the first active element. Value 2 feet. It's going here automatically to move the element that are all their point stretch and stretch the other. This also works for pretty well on framing. Let's say here that we have a window that has been placed and afterwards here there was a mistake and the dimension of the window are not correct. So here, for example, I'm just going to change my settings and for the lower sill to be actually lower. So if I'm doing here like 30, here we see that the elements are no longer right. So here we can simply select all the elements that would be impacted by that change with here a red lasso around the area. Then stretch, lasso point. Here I'm doing the same lasso, knowing that this lasso only affects the element that are previously selected. So it's not a big deal if there is other points catch inside this lasso, they will not be considered. So here we need to make sure that the active point was correctly placed. So we know that we are going to stretch from that point to the bottom, because we don't really know here the values, for example, along the length of this element to a point, and here we can select the target. Here you really need to be careful about the element that you select in your lasso. For example, here let's say that I'm not paying attention and I'm also selecting these blockings. I'm just going here to place my active point at the top of this pattern because this will be my point A and here point B. For the stretch, lasso point, and here I'm including these blockings along the length to a point and here to the bottom. Since here there are elements that are actually not orthogonal to the stretch direction, you see at the bottom it's going to ask you a question. All elements will be stretched along their own length axis. So if you say yes here, it means that the element will grow in the same direction according to their length direction. So here what will happen if we say yes to this is every element grows aligned with their own system axis. So we have element going up, down, some right, some left. So that is not ideal in this kind of configuration. But if we say no to this question, lengths to a point, and say here no, we are going to move all the points along the length of the first active element, meaning that the element that were not actually orthogonal with this will actually be, we will call them corrupted, even though it's still a valid shape, but in Cadwork regards, but in reality those are not really the elements we would be actually working with. As you can see, it has messed up with their system axis because a stretch does not change the system axis of an element, we just move the point around. So this element here is no longer a 2x6 as it first was, simply because we simply stretch the point. Okay, so this length is still 1.5, but of course that it means that this element no longer have the right section. Okay, So be careful about this when stretching. Basically, what you need to be careful about when using the stretch, again, it's the location of your active point. It should be within the point that will be stretched, and if you are not going to use a specific value for the stretch, but you would like to use a vector, so point A and point B, make sure that the first element you select, or the location of the active point, correctly match where is a correct reference for that transformation. And then again, make sure that you are always aware of the points that are currently selected and that will be stretched if activated, of course, with the second lasso, as we just showed in that last example.